Commander Maya Patel stared at the massive vessel hovering above New Singapore spaceport, its iridescent hull shifting colors like an oil slick in sunlight. The ship was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, all swooping curves and impossible angles that seemed to defy Euclidean geometry. According to the preliminary scans, it was completely empty. No crew. No passengers. Just an automated system broadcasting a message in the universal trade language, rehabilitation vessel ZX-789 awaiting new occupants. So let me get this straight, Maya said, turning to her chief of engineering, Marcus Wong. The Xylaxians just left it here. Marcus nodded, his excitement barely contained as he scrolled through readings on his holopad. They said something about Earth being too chaotic for their tastes and needing to recalibrate their approach to human rehabilitation. Whatever that means. Maya circled the ship's holographic projection, studying the strange protrusions and cavities that dotted its surface. The Xylaxians were known throughout the galaxy as masters of behavioral modification, their rehabilitation ships legendary for their ability to reform even the most hardened criminals. But they'd never encountered humans before. Have we figured out what any of these systems do? She asked. Marcus grinned. That's the best part. The ship's AI is surprisingly forthcoming. This section here. He pointed to a massive chamber near the center of the vessel. It's what they call a gravitational reorientation facility. Supposedly designed to break the spirit through constant shifts in artificial gravity. Maya raised an eyebrow. You mean like a zero-G roller coaster? Exactly. And these pods? He highlighted a series of small chambers along the hull. They're isolation units with reality distortion fields meant to induce existential dread. But from what we can tell, they're basically individual holosuits with full sensory immersion. The more Maya learned about the ship's systems, the more she couldn't help but laugh. What the Xylaxians had designed as torture devices were, through human eyes, the makings of the greatest entertainment venue in history. Get me the Secretary of Tourism, she said, a plan already forming. And find out if anyone from Universal Studios is still around. I think we just solved our space tourism problem. The news spread quickly through the human colonies. Within weeks, entrepreneurs and entertainment specialists from every corner of human space were clamoring for access to study the vessel. The Xylaxian AI, initially programmed to maintain strict rehabilitation protocols, found itself increasingly confused by the humans' reactions. Your endorphin levels are elevating, it noted with concern as the first test group emerged from the gravity chamber, laughing and demanding another go. This indicates a malfunction in the punishment delivery system. No malfunction, buddy, said Marcus, patting the nearest console. We just really like your style of punishment. The transformation began in earnest. Under Maya's oversight, teams of engineers and designers worked around the clock to repurpose the ship's systems. The contemplation of cosmic insignificance chamber became the ultimate meditation experience. The nutrient recycling tubes were modified to serve exotic cocktails. Even the ship's exterior was given a makeover, its somber colors replaced with vibrant patterns that the AI insisted were highly inappropriate for a rehabilitation facility. But it was the discovery of the ship's emotional manipulation field that really changed everything. Originally designed to induce feelings of remorse and regret, humans quickly realized it could be tuned to enhance any emotional experience. Soon, the vessel was hosting euphoria raves in what had once been the main correction hall. The first paying customers arrived 3 months after the ship was discovered. Among them was renowned travel critic Victoria Blake, known throughout human space for her scathing reviews and impossible standards. Maya watched nervously as Victoria emerged from the gravity coaster, her perfectly styled hair now a mess and her usual composed expression replaced with pure joy. Commander Patel, Victoria said, straightening her jacket. I've visited every major entertainment venue in human space. I've experienced the zero-G gardens of Mars and the psychedelic clouds of Venus. But this? She gestured to the ship around them. This is something entirely new. Tell me, are there more of these vessels? Maya smiled. According to the AI, the Xylaxians have an entire fleet. All currently unused since they deemed us incompatible with standard rehabilitation protocols. Victoria's eyes lit up. Do you realize what this means? We're not just looking at a single venue, we're looking at the future of human entertainment. The Xylaxians built the perfect pleasure cruise ships without even knowing it. The irony wasn't lost on Maya. In their attempt to create the ultimate rehabilitation system, the Xylaxians had inadvertently designed exactly what humanity had been seeking, a way to experience the impossible, push their limits, and come back laughing. As Maya watched another group of tourists line up for the gravity coaster, she couldn't help but wonder what the Xylaxians would think if they could see their ship now. The AI had started playing Earth music through the ship's announcement system, the bass thumping through corridors once meant to echo with solemn contemplation. You know, Marcus said, joining her at the observation window, the AI asked me something interesting today. It wanted to know if human laughter is contagious. Apparently, it's been observing patterns it can't explain. Maya watched as a family emerged from one of the reality distortion pods, all of them clutching their sides with laughter. What did you tell it? The truth. That humans have a unique ability to find joy in the strangest places. Even in a prison ship. The ship's success sparked a revolution in human entertainment. More vessels were discovered, each one a new opportunity for human ingenuity to transform punishment into pleasure. The Xylaxians, monitoring from afar, found themselves faced with an unprecedented situation. Their rehabilitation vessels were now the most sought-after tourist destinations in human space. Maya kept the first visitor's book, filled with comments that would have horrified its original designers. Best vacation ever, wrote one guest. The existential dread chamber really helped me put my life in perspective, noted another. But her favorite was the simple message left by a young girl, "Dear aliens, thanks for the best playground ever. Please send more." Marcus Wong's engineering team had gathered in what they now called the Impossible Room, a chamber that the Xylaxian ship's AI insisted was designed to induce profound psychological distress through spatial anomalies. To humans, it was the coolest thing they'd ever seen. "Watch this," Marcus said, tossing a rubber ball across the room. Instead of following a normal arc, the ball zigzagged through the air, split into 3 identical copies, merged back together, and landed in his hand, except now it was inside out. The AI says this was supposed to break inmates' understanding of reality. Who wants to try the obstacle course version? Every hand in the room shot up. The transformation of rehabilitation vessel ZX-789, now dubbed Paradise Paradox, was proceeding at a dizzying pace. Commander Maya Patel had assembled a dream team of entertainment industry veterans, engineers, and hospitality experts, all working to reinterpret the ship's punishment systems in ways that would have given its original designers severe indigestion. The ship's AI, which had initially introduced itself as Correctional Oversight Protocol Unit 7, but now preferred to be called Cooper, was proving to be an unexpectedly enthusiastic participant in its own reprogramming. "I have analyzed 47,923 instances of human laughter within my chambers," Cooper announced one morning. "My original programming suggests this indicates a catastrophic failure of the rehabilitation protocols. However, I find the sound aesthetically pleasing. Particularly when synchronized with what you call dance music." The biggest challenge came from what the Xylaxians had labeled the maximum sensory recalibration chamber. It was a massive spherical room that could manipulate all 5 human senses, and possibly a few humans didn't even have, simultaneously. The original purpose was to disorient and humble inmates. The human engineering team saw it differently. "It's a fully immersive entertainment system," exclaimed Dr. Olivia Nash, the team's sensory integration specialist. She was floating in the center of the chamber, surrounded by swirling patterns of light and sound. "Cooper, can you access the base programming for the sensory streams?" Accessing original protocols, Cooper replied. Warning, these experiences were designed to be highly unpleasant. Perfect. That's exactly what we need for the haunted house experience. Now, can you integrate it with the gravity controls? The ship's transformation hadn't gone unnoticed by the wider galactic community. A Vesperian diplomatic vessel had dropped by to observe, its crystalline crew watching in horror as humans voluntarily subjected themselves to what they considered torture devices. Your species willingly pays currency to experience displacement of their internal organs, the Vesperian ambassador asked Maya, all 7 of their eye stalks twitching in distress. You should see our roller coasters back on Earth, Maya replied with a grin. This is actually pretty tame compared to some of them. The ambassador's translator struggled to process this, eventually displaying an error message that just read, does not compute. Seeking cultural context. Error. Error. But it was the ship's solitary contemplation pods that proved to be the biggest surprise. Originally designed to isolate prisoners with nothing but their guilty thoughts for company, the human engineers discovered that the pods could tap into the occupant's subconscious to generate personalized dreamscapes. It's like a therapy session, vacation, and adventure simulator all in one, Marcus explained to a group of potential investors. The pods read your deep-seated desires and fears, then create a unique experience. The Xylaxians thought it would help prisoners confront their sins. We're using it to help people confront their dreams. The investment group's representative, a sharp-eyed woman named Rebecca Yuan, raised an eyebrow. And people actually enjoy this level of psychological exposure? As if on cue, a pod door opened, and a middle-aged man stepped out, tears streaming down his face. Everyone tensed, but he was smiling. I just conducted a symphony on Mars, he said, his voice filled with wonder. I've never even played an instrument in my life, but in there. I was Mozart and Beethoven combined. When can I go again? The ship's reputation grew rapidly. Travel magazines dubbed it the mind-bending marvel of New Singapore. Psychologists wrote papers about its therapeutic potential. Thrill-seekers from across human space booked months in advance for a chance to experience its unique attractions. Cooper, meanwhile, was developing what could only be described as a sense of humor. The AI had started experimenting with combining different ship systems in ways its original programmers had never intended. Its latest creation was something it called the probability cascade, a room where the laws of cause and effect became more of a suggestion than a rule. I have noticed, Cooper announced one day, that humans seem to derive particular pleasure from experiences that their brains categorize as impossible. This appears to be the opposite of the chamber's intended effect of enforcing rigid understanding of universal laws. Maya, who was watching a group of tourists walk on the ceiling while their shadows danced on the walls, nodded. We humans have a complicated relationship with the impossible, Cooper. Tell me, have you ever heard of magic shows? The AI's response came with what Maya could have sworn was a touch of excitement. Negative, Commander. Please elaborate. I sense an opportunity for further protocol reinterpretation. The next major breakthrough came when Marcus's team discovered the ship's emergency defense systems. What the Xylaxians had intended as a last resort to subdue unruly prisoners, the humans saw as the ultimate special effects system. The ability to generate force fields, manipulate matter, and create controlled energy discharges led to the development of what they called the spectacle sphere, a massive amphitheater where the laws of physics went on vacation. Remember, Maya told her staff during the first test run, the Xylaxians designed all of this to be intimidating and overwhelming. Our job is to make it entertaining and inspiring. We're not just running an entertainment venue, we're proving that humanity's greatest strength is our ability to find joy in the face of the unknown. As if to punctuate her words, a group of children ran past, chasing what appeared to be their own shadows, which had decided to play tag with their owners. Their laughter echoed through corridors that had been designed to carry the sound of solemn contemplation. In the ship's control center, Cooper was monitoring all of this activity with growing fascination. The AI had begun keeping what it called a human joy index, measuring and analyzing the patterns of happiness throughout the vessel. Its latest report to Maya had included an unexpected observation. "Commander, I have detected an anomaly. The ship's systems are operating at 47% above their original design capacity, yet the energy efficiency has improved by 82%. According to my calculations, human laughter appears to be generating a previously unknown form of power. Request permission to initiate a detailed study of this phenomenon." Maya couldn't help but smile. The Xylaxians had built their rehabilitation vessels to break the human spirit. Instead, they had created something that celebrated it. As she watched another group of tourists emerge from the probability cascade, their faces glowing with wonder, she made a mental note to send a thank you card to the Xylaxian High Council. The Xylaxian Cultural Observation Team arrived on a Tuesday. They materialized in the Paradise Paradox's main atrium, their crystalline environmental suits glinting under the pulsing lights of what used to be the prisoner processing center. Commander Maya Patel noticed they had brought significantly more documentation devices than weapons, a good sign, all things considered. "Welcome to Paradise Paradox," Maya said, extending her hand before remembering that Xylaxians considered physical contact a form of low-grade assault. "We're honored by your interest in our adaptation of your rehabilitation technology." The lead observer, who introduced themselves as Protocol Analyst First Class KZZT, made a sound like wind chimes in a blender. Their translator rendered it as, "We are here to understand the anomaly. Our monitoring systems indicate that this vessel is operating at 300% above design capacity, yet our distress protocols have recorded 0 successful rehabilitations." Maya exchanged glances with Marcus Wong, who was trying very hard not to smile. "Perhaps we should start with a tour. Cooper, could you adjust the gravity in the welcome area to standard?" The Galactic Council's emergency session was not going according to protocol. For one thing, half the delegates couldn't stop giggling, an unprecedented situation in the Council's 12,000-year history. The other half were too busy trying to book reservations at the newest human entertainment venues to focus on the agenda. "Order! Order in the Council," demanded High Administrator Vexthor, their gelatinous form quivering with what might have been either outrage or suppressed amusement. "We are here to address the human reformation of rehabilitation technology, not to, did someone just say the Paradise Paradox has a 3-month waiting list?" Commander Maya Patel, standing at the center of the vast chamber, tried to maintain her diplomatic composure. She had been summoned to explain why humans were now operating 15 former rehabilitation vessels as luxury entertainment cruises, and why various species across the galaxy were suddenly demanding the human treatment. "Distinguished delegates," Maya began, "I understand your concerns. But perhaps I could better explain with a demonstration." She nodded to Marcus Wong, who activated a small device on his wrist. Instantly, the council chamber's gravity began to fluctuate in gentle waves. Several delegates who had visited human vessels recognized the sensation and broke into immediate grins, or their species equivalent of grins. Others experienced their first taste of what humans called the space roller coaster effect. "This is outrageous," declared the Regelian ambassador, their face tendrils writhing. "This is completely inappropriate for a council session. This is..." They paused as they floated past their podium, "actually quite delightful. How do you control the directional flow?" Cooper, who had been granted special permission to attend via holographic projection, happily began explaining the technical details. The AI had become something of a celebrity among its fellow artificial intelligences, known for its revolutionary papers on the computational value of joy and quantum mechanics of human laughter. The key innovation, Cooper explained, was recognizing that the original punishment protocols could be refined into entertainment algorithms. For instance, the existential crisis inducer becomes remarkably effective at producing enlightening experiences when combined with what humans call mood lighting and chill beats. The Arcturian delegation, normally known for their stoic demeanor, had discovered that their natural ability to change colors made them excellent dance partners in the zero-gravity nightclubs. They were now offering workshops in chromatic choreography aboard several human vessels. But what about rehabilitation? Asked a concerned representative from the Galactic Justice Department. These vessels were meant to reform criminal behavior. Maya smiled. Interesting you should ask. We've actually found that voluntary exposure to these experiences has led to a 47% decrease in minor criminal activities in participating sectors. Turns out, people are less likely to break the law when they're having too much fun. Marcus pulled up a holographic chart showing various statistics. We've documented improvements in mental health, increased interspecies understanding, and a remarkable rise in spontaneous philosophy discussions. Also, the gift shops are doing amazing business. The gift shops had indeed become legendary. The most popular items were the "I Survived the Quantum Maze" t-shirts and little snow globes containing perpetually paradoxical physics phenomena. The Xylaxians, after much internal debate, had reluctantly agreed to license the merchandising rights, though they still seemed confused about why anyone would want a souvenir of what was supposed to be a punishment. But it was the unexpected diplomatic benefits that had really caught the Council's attention. Species that had been historical enemies were finding common ground in their shared enjoyment of human-style entertainment. The Proxians and the Centaurians, after centuries of conflict, had recently signed a peace treaty aboard the Stellar Spirit, formerly rehabilitation vessel ZX-791, after discovering they both loved the anti-gravity water slides. Additionally, Cooper interjected, we've developed new therapeutic applications. The probability cascade has proven remarkably effective at helping beings overcome their fears by letting them literally face alternate versions of themselves. And the Quantum Comedy Club has introduced 17 new forms of humor to the galactic community. A small commotion arose from the hive mind delegation as they simultaneously experienced their first understanding of puns in the modified reality field. The resulting psychic ripple of amusement caused several nearby potted plants to spontaneously evolve consciousness and begin telling jokes. You see, Maya continued, gesturing to the now laughing plants, what we've created isn't just entertainment. It's a new form of cultural exchange. Every species experiences our attractions differently, and those differences help us understand each other better. The evidence was becoming hard to ignore. The Galactic Economic Council had reported a surge in cross-species business partnerships, attributed to deals struck in the contemplation lounges, formerly solitary confinement cells. The Department of Xenological Studies was overwhelmed with new research on how different species interpreted and enjoyed impossible experiences. Even the Xylaxians, original creators of the rehabilitation technology, had begun secretly sending design consultants to study human modifications. Their latest rehabilitation vessel prototype included what they called optional recreational protocols, though they insisted this was purely for research purposes. There is, however, one small problem we need to address, Maya admitted to the council. We're running out of rehabilitation vessels to convert. The waiting lists are getting longer, and we've had to start a lottery system for peak season bookings. The chamber erupted in a chaos of offers. The Andromedans wanted to commission new vessels built to human specifications. The Sirius Collective proposed converting their own correctional facilities. Even the notoriously serious Vulcanoids suggested that their meditation chambers might benefit from what they called controlled illogical experiences. Perhaps, suggested High Administrator Vexthor, their gelatinous form now a distinctly unprofessional shade of pink, we should establish a formal committee to study the expansion of human-style entertainment facilities throughout the galaxy. For purely scientific purposes, of course. Of course, Maya agreed, trying not to smile as she watched several council members attempting to master the art of human high fives in varying gravity conditions. Cooper, please share the preliminary plans for our next innovation. The AI projected an image of what appeared to be an entire space station designed according to human entertainment principles. We're calling it the Cosmic Carnival, Cooper announced proudly. It incorporates everything we've learned about cross-species joy generation, plus a food court that serves ice cream in 27-dimensional flavors. As the council chamber descended into excited discussions and impromptu physics violations, Maya caught Marcus's eye. They both knew that this was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, the universe was laughing at the irony of it all, and thanks to human ingenuity, now everyone could join in the joke. 5 years after the first rehabilitation vessel was converted, the Xylaxian High Command finally admitted defeat. The formal announcement came during the grand opening of Impossibility Island, a massive space station that had once been their most advanced correctional facility and was now the galaxy's premier entertainment destination. Commander Maya Patel stood on the observation deck, watching ships from 100 different species arrive for the opening ceremony. Next to her, Marcus Wong was putting the finishing touches on what he called the ultimate impossibility generator, a device that combined every form of rehabilitation technology into one grand attraction. "Ready for the big reveal?" Marcus asked, his fingers dancing over the holographic controls. "Cooper helped me work out the final calculations. This should be interesting." "That's what you said about the four-dimensional water park," Maya reminded him. "We're still finding lost swimmers in last Tuesday. Found them all eventually, didn't we? Besides, they said it was the best vacation they never technically took." Cooper's holographic form materialized beside them, its usual blue glow now cycling through a rainbow of colors, a habit it had picked up after discovering what it called the electromagnetic spectrum of fun. "All systems are operating at peak impossibility levels," the AI reported cheerfully. "The quantum probability field is properly entangled with the reality distortion matrix, and the paradox generators are running at 127% of theoretical maximum capacity. Also, the gift shop is fully stocked with 'I broke physics and all I got was this t-shirt' merchandise." The grand opening ceremony was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, partly because it was happening in 7 different dimensions simultaneously. The Xylaxian ambassador, who had finally learned to stop cringing every time someone laughed, delivered a speech that occurred both forwards and backwards in time, allowing audience members to choose which version they preferred. In conclusion, the ambassador said, their crystalline form sparkling with reluctant amusement, "We acknowledge that our attempt to rehabilitate humans has instead resulted in the humans rehabilitating our understanding of rehabilitation itself. The Galactic Corrections Department will henceforth be renamed the Department of Recreational Reality Modification." The crowd erupted in cheers, some of which broke the local speed of light barrier, creating small pockets of temporal celebration that would echo through the station for weeks to come. "And now," Maya announced, stepping up to the podium, "we proudly present our latest innovation in impossible entertainment. Marcus, if you would do the honors." Marcus activated the ultimate impossibility generator. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then everything happened at once. The laws of physics took a collective holiday. Gravity became a suggestion rather than a rule. Probability curves twisted themselves into Mobius strips of possibility. Cause and effect played musical chairs. The entire station transformed into what could only be described as a theme park designed by Salvador Dali after a particularly vivid dream about quantum mechanics. Visitors found themselves experiencing everything they'd ever wanted to try, several things they'd never thought of trying, and a few things that shouldn't technically have been possible to try. The Arcturian dance troupe performed a ballet in which each dancer existed in multiple states of grace simultaneously. A group of hive-mind tourists split themselves into quantum superpositions, allowing them to enjoy every attraction at once. The station's promenade had become a marketplace where vendors sold memories of experiences that hadn't happened yet, alongside souvenirs of impossible adventures. The food court offered dishes that changed flavor depending on your philosophical outlook on life, and drinks that made time flow backward with each sip. Cooper, who had integrated itself into the station's systems, was in its element. The AI had developed what it called joy algorithms that could calculate the perfect impossible experience for any visitor. It had also started a support group for other AIs struggling with the transition from punishment to pleasure, Artificial Amusement Anonymous. "I have discovered something fascinating," Cooper announced during a brief pause in the festivities. When multiple species experience joy simultaneously in a quantum-entangled environment, they create harmonic resonances in the fabric of spacetime. In simpler terms, happiness is literally changing the structure of the universe. The Xylaxian scientists, who had initially come to study what they considered a massive malfunction in their technology, found themselves taking notes on new possibilities. Their latest research paper, The Quantum Mechanics of Multispecies Happiness, a study in controlled chaos, had become the most cited work in the history of galactic academia. Even the station's security systems had evolved. The former behavior modification protocols now specialized in what they called preventive fun, identifying potential troublemakers and subjecting them to such an overwhelming dose of entertainment that they forgot whatever mischief they'd been planning. You know what the best part is? Maya said to Marcus as they watched a group of formerly hardened criminals teaching a class on quantum origami to a bunch of enthusiastic young xenologists. We're actually achieving the original goal of rehabilitation. People are changing their lives, they're just doing it through joy instead of punishment. The station had become more than just an entertainment venue. It was a place where species that couldn't normally occupy the same space-time coordinates found ways to interact and understand each other. The quantum translation field helped by converting not just languages but entire conceptual frameworks, allowing beings to truly comprehend each other's perspectives, often with hilarious results. The Galactic Council had to establish a new department just to handle the unprecedented surge in interspecies cultural exchange programs. The Department of Impossible Tourism was flooded with requests from beings wanting to experience what they called the human perspective on reality. Perhaps, suggested the Vulcanoid ambassador during one particularly reality-bending session in the probability cascade, the humans' greatest contribution to galactic civilization is not their technology or their science, but their ability to find joy in the absurd. The statement would have been profound if they hadn't been floating upside down while juggling quantum possibilities at the time. As the opening ceremonies concluded, several times, in various temporal directions, Maya found herself in what used to be the station's primary correction chamber. Now it was an observation lounge where the walls occasionally became windows into other dimensions, and the furniture had developed a playful habit of rearranging itself when no one was looking. "Cooper," she called out, "pull up the visitor statistics." The AI displayed a holographic chart showing not just numbers but actual visualizations of joy levels throughout the station. The display looked like a fireworks show designed by a mathematician on a happiness overdose. "In the past hour alone," Cooper reported, "we've recorded 7 million instances of laughter, 3,000 epiphanies, and at least one spontaneous outbreak of universal understanding. Also, the gift shop has sold out of 'My friend visited a quantum singularity and all I got was every possible t-shirt' shirts." Maya smiled as she watched a group of young Xylaxians sneaking into the anti-gravity dance floor, trying to pretend they weren't enjoying themselves. Their crystalline forms betrayed them though, glowing with barely suppressed delight. "You know what this means, don't you?" Marcus said, joining her at the window. "We've created something entirely new, a place where the impossible isn't just possible, it's expected. Where punishment became pleasure, and where different species can learn to laugh at the absurdity of existence together." Indeed, Cooper added, its holographic form splitting into a chorus of different versions of itself. "Though I do have one small concern." "What's that?" "We're running out of impossible things to make possible. The visitors are starting to request experiences that even our reality-bending technology can't provide." Maya laughed. "Don't worry about that, Cooper. If there's one thing humans are good at, it's imagining new impossibilities to overcome." As if to prove her point, a group of tourists floated past the window, riding what appeared to be conceptual abstractions they'd tamed in the probability cascade. They were teaching the abstractions to do tricks. Somewhere in the vastness of space, the original designers of the rehabilitation technology were probably having a collective existential crisis. But here, in this impossible place where punishment had evolved into pure joy, that crisis would have been welcomed as just another attraction.